Hello, my name is Boyd Shepard. I'm a lawyer here in Houston, Texas. This video is to give instruction for a final board order, what to do upon receipt of your fully signed agreed settlement order and compliance instructions. In this video, I will go over the cover letter, the jurisprudence assessment instructions, the instructions for the administrative fee or fine, the continuing education requirements of your board order, as well as other important information that you need to be aware of for meeting full compliance of the requirements of your board order. The first thing that I'd like to discuss is, of course, the cover letter. The cover letter is the board's letterhead that is on top of everything that you receive in the compliance package or mailing. What you need to do with the cover letter is make special note of what they refer to as the DEN board order number. Up until this point, through the entire investigation and the handling of your board case, you've been utilizing or referencing the board case number. And the wording of that looks very, very similar, but it's different. The number is different, and for compliance purposes, you always want to reference the DEN-board order number. And so you'll note that the number is different, and it's always led by, or it's behind these words, DEN board order number, and then a different number that's completely different from your case number. Referencing the correct number, the DEN board order number, will facilitate all communications with the compliance division, and you'll learn that that becomes very, very important. Use this with all correspondence, all emails, any document that you send. Anything needs to have your DEN board order number written or noted on that correspondence or document when submitting it to the board during the compliance portion or period of your case. This is what a typical cover letter looks like. As you can see right there in the middle of the cover letter in bold letters, there's a reference to the DEN board order number, and it's telling you exactly what I've just outlined, where it can be found, and to make sure to reference this number on any future correspondence. Also on the cover letter is the name and contact information, email and fax for the compliance officer for the dental board. That's going to be very important. Also, if you're looking for the phone number, it's just the phone number for the board, which is there at the top of the letterhead. There, it's the same fax number, but you have her direct email, and you'll be utilizing that quite a bit. The next thing to be aware of course, is you will receive or may have already received a complete copy of your agreed settlement order, and it is now signed by the board. Make sure you fully read and fully understand the details of the order portion of your agreed settlement order. And within that order portion, there's going to be deadline dates, deadline periods, 30 days, 60 days, 6 months, whatever the case may be, outlined in the order. And there's going to be very, very specific language that is going to make a difference as far as your compliance with the order. So you may have a lawyer representing you that can go over it with you in detail, but the lawyer is going to probably summarize what it says. It's completely up to you as the licensee to review and understand the details of that order. So make sure you read it. This is the first page of a typical board order. It's just going to go into the details of, what date that the agreed settlement order was heard, who was there, etc. This is what the top page of a board order looks like, and it says agreed settlement order there on the front page. The actual order portion comes later in the document. This is the third page of a 5-page order in this example, and you'll note that the order goes into the detail about the administrative fine as well as the CE hours. All of that detail will include a discussion about how long from the effective date of the agreed settlement order. For example, here the administrative fine has to be paid within 6 months, and then within 6 months of the effective date of the agreed settlement order, so many hours of CE in each of these areas must be completed. So it's that kind of detail that you must read, understand, and mark your calendar for, and understand that the date that you're measuring from is most likely always going to read the effective date of the ASO, and the effective date of the agreed settlement order is the date that it was signed by the board members. So I don't have the page in this example, but in your agreed settlement order on the last page, that's the signature page, and that's going to be the date that it became effective. Additionally, if you go back to the letter, it says that it's not the date of the letter of your cover letter. That's not the effective date of your order. The effective date of your order is going to be the date that it was signed off by the dental board. And it also is not the date of your informal settlement conference. The effective date of your agreed settlement order is the date that it was signed by the full board, which will be the last page of this document. The next thing to discuss in the requirements is if you've also been required, according to the agreed settlement order, to complete a jurisprudence assessment. The instructions for that will be in your compliance package, and this is what that looks like. In the instructions that arrives with your compliance instructions, there is a link, and you click that link, you copy and paste that link, and you go to the link and you select the appropriate jurisprudence assessment, whether you're an assistant, you're a laboratory, you're a hygienist, or if you're a dentist. There's a different jurisprudence assessment for each. And with dentists, there's a jurisprudence assessment if you have a sedation permit, and there's a separate one if you do not have a sedation permit. So your instructions for the jurisprudence assessment are clearly laid out, and everything you need to know, and then you submit proof of completion to the email address that's here on the instructions, or send it by fax, remembering to keep a copy for yourself, and also remembering to reference any correspondence with your DEN board order number. The next thing to discuss is the administrative fine. Follow the instructions, reference the DEN board order number again, and again make a copy of the check, the remittance, anything that you have proof that payment was made. You will follow the instructions. There's a form in your compliance package that tells you exactly what to do and then where to send that proof of payment. You don't have to send proof of a check clearing as long as you mail a check. And right now I'm talking about restitution, which is separate. If your case involved restitution, that will be sending proof of that restitution to the compliance officer. But you do not have to show that a check that you would have reimbursed a patient as part of a restitution order. You don't have to show that the check cleared. You just have to show proof that you sent it to their last known address. But with respect to the administrative fine, which is what you're looking at here, this is a check that you're making out to the board. And it says here, complete this form and submit with your check or money order to the compliance division. And you just follow the instructions here. The next thing that you will need to comply with is your CE. There is a page that you'll follow all of the instructions you'll be instructed on, and you must use the approval request form. You can't send just straight up emails to the board. You have to use the form that's in your compliance package when you're requesting approval to take CE, and you must get that permission in advance, which is laid out in a board order. You have to request approval of your CE and have it approved before you take that continuing education. Again, reference your your DEN board order number. Make a copy of everything that you submit, your correspondence getting approval, as well as the CE description of your courses. Document everything. This is the instruction page for the continuing education. As you can see, it's very, very detailed. Everything that you need to know about requesting continuing education approval is laid out here in the instructions for the continuing education requirement. There is a link to approved providers provided, and there's also instructions at the very bottom of what they are looking for with respect to proof of completion. As far as the approval form is concerned, approval request form, this is the approval request form. You must fill out the top part in detail, your name, your license number, your email address, your DEN board order number. The DEN-RP might be if you have what's called a remedial plan. If you have a remedial plan, it'll be a DEN-RP board number. If it's a DEN-board number, then that means it's a board order, not a remedial plan. Just to distinguish between those two acronyms that they have there at the top of the page. But that's where you'll fill in that information. Down below in the actual approval request area, they've given you an example. They've given you an example of how to fill in those sections. Record keeping, the course title, maintaining excellence in record keeping, course hours 2, location online, and then they have a space for agency approval. You must have that approval before you commence with your CE course. So that's why it's important to jump on this early, because it does take time to get that approval. It doesn't always happen overnight, and you may have to submit the request more than once. I know that's frustrating, but again, the obligation is on you for compliance, and so you'll want to put ticklers on your calendar, whatever you need to remind yourself to make sure that you have the approval before you move forward. They give you an extra page in case you have a lot of CE hours that need to be complied with, but the first page, of course, has the example to follow. There is a CE course in risk management and record keeping that I provide. You can go to legaldental.com. It's a 6-hour CE course that's going to comply with most board orders. Most board orders require 6 hours of CE and record keeping and risk management or less. Might be 3 hours. It's usually either 3 or 6. And so there's a course that's available on my website, legaldental.com. I am an approved board CE provider for this purpose, and I'm listed on their website to confirm that. On my website, legaldental.com, you'll see, if you scroll down just a little bit on legaldental.com, you'll see this section of the website where I have the information pertaining to the risk management course, where you can purchase the course online, and it's all online. Every bit of the course. It's not a live course. It's completely online. You do it in the comfort of your office or home, that hours that work for you. It has video. It has instruction. It's very comprehensive, and it's had a lot of great reviews. So there's a curriculum preview of everything that's included within the course, and between the actual time of the videos plus the additional written text instruction, and then on the back end there is a quiz requirement where I basically evaluate your comprehension of the material. Once that's submitted to me, you will then receive a completion certificate, which looks like this with your name filled in. So again, you can go to legaldental.com to purchase that CE course once you have approval from the compliance division, and you can go basically there to get the description of the course as well for submission to the board compliance officer to get that approval. A few other items with respect to compliance, some additional notes. For the duration of the board order compliance, these are things that you need to keep in mind, have perspective of, and understand. Number one, at this point during the compliance portion, you're not necessarily represented by an attorney. The obligation to complete compliance is on you, the licensee. You are the one under the order. If you have an attorney that has helped you with the case, it's not their duty or job to keep track of your compliance deadlines, to communicate with the compliance division. None of that. That is all on you as the licensee. For my clients, if necessary, I do make contact with the board or the board compliance officers and sometimes the attorneys if there's ever a question that needs clarification, but it's not really representation as much as it is a courtesy to clients to facilitate. But the ultimate person who's responsible for completing these courses and this information and the compliance as written in the order is on you as the licensee. You'll do most of your most of your communication with the compliance division by email. That actually protects you. It gives you documentation of the communications back and forth on both sides. Reaching them by phone might very well prove difficult, but certainly email can be tracked. Make sure, again, I've said this a handful of times already, save all correspondence and your completion certificates. And ultimately, when you're finished with the compliance, you'll receive a letter from the board confirming the success of your compliance. You will get a confirmation letter once the case is closed. If you have any questions, please email me, boyd@legaldental.com. I'm happy to help and answer further questions to clarify what's in this video. Obviously, I have the legaldental.com law library where you can locate additional information with respect to board cases, the board process, informal settlement conferences, the preliminary investigation. I have several videos that break down the entire experience with dealing with the case and investigation before the board. And if that's ever could be helpful to you, that's available as well in the legaldental.com law library. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you found it helpful, and good luck with your case.